All right, let's jump right in today. We're talking about a company that's taking on one of the scariest threats in modern medicine. You know, the rise of the superbug. The company is Ondine Biomedical, and their weapon of choice is, well, it's light. But what's really fascinating here, and what we're going to dig into, are the future applications. That's where the story gets really mind-bending. So let's break down how this all works.
And listen, their ambition, it's absolutely massive. This quote from their president and CTO, Nicholas Lobel, really sets the tone. They're not just trying to make a slightly better treatment. No, they're talking about a world completely free from untreatable infections. I mean, think about that. That is a huge goal, especially when we're all hearing about the crisis of antibiotic resistance.
And look, this isn't just some far-off, futuristic vision. We're talking about a technology that's already been used on more than 200,000 patients. That's right, this is happening right now in real hospitals. The impact is already here, and it's growing.
So the big question is, how do you actually do it, right? How do you go to war with these deadly germs without making the problem of resistance even worse? Well, the answer is kind of beautiful in its simplicity. They use light. Okay, the science behind it is called photodisinfection and is basically a two-part recipe. You take this special blue photosensitizer solution and you combine it with a very specific wavelength of light. When those two things meet, boom, you get this incredibly powerful targeted disinfectant. It just wipes out everything, bacteria, viruses, even fungi. But, and this is the crucial part, it leaves our own human cells completely unharmed. So their first product, which is called SteriWave, goes after the nose, because, you know, it's a major hideout for germs. And the process is super simple. A nurse or doctor applies that blue solution inside the nostril. Then they insert a tiny little fiber optic tip. They flip on a special red light, and that's it. The whole thing takes less than 5 minutes. It's totally painless, just a really fast, simple, and super targeted way to clear out the bad guys.
And, you know, when you stack this up against traditional antibiotics, it's really no contest. Photodisinfection works in minutes, not hours or days. It's broad spectrum, meaning it kills all sorts of things. But here's the absolute game changer. It doesn't cause resistance. It completely sidesteps the single biggest problem we have with antibiotics.
Okay, so having an amazing technology is one thing, but, you know, that's only half the battle. How do you actually get it into hospitals and make it a real business? Well, you need a strategy that's just as clever as the science. And they call their strategy the land and expand model. Think of it like a military strategy. First, you establish a beachhead, right? You land in one key high-impact area. For them, that's pre-surgical care. Then, once you've proven yourself there, once the hospitals see how well it works, that's when you expand into all these other new applications and different places. And fueling this whole thing is a business model that you've definitely seen before. It's the classic razor and blades. So the hospital buys the light-generating device one time, that's your razor, but then for every single patient they treat, they have to buy a new single-use treatment kit. Those are the blades. And that creates a really nice, steady, and growing stream of recurring revenue. And you can see just how powerful this model is when you look at the numbers. As they sell more and get better at making the kits, their gross margin has jumped a lot. We're talking from 49% all the way up to 65%. I mean, that's a huge leap, and it just shows you this is a really healthy, profitable way to grow. Okay, but this is where things get really exciting, and it's really the heart of what we're talking about today. That SteriWave product for the nose, that's just the beginning. That's just the proof of concept. The real, incredible, long-term value here is that this is a platform technology. That means you can take the same basic idea and adapt it to fight infections pretty much anywhere in the body. I mean, just take a look at what they've got in the pipeline. We're talking about new treatments for burns and wounds, for chronic sinus problems, intraoral disease, even for something as serious as ventilator-associated pneumonia. The list goes on. But the one that might just be the most game-changing of all? The idea of creating self-disinfecting medical devices. Yeah, let's zoom in on that for a second, because this tackles a massive, persistent, and really dangerous problem in every single hospital. The infections that start on devices that stay inside the body for a long time, like catheters.
And I love how the CTO, Nicholas Lobel, explains it. He says, imagine if you have a long-term indwelling catheter. We've designed and built photodynamically disinfected Foley catheters. You turn on the light every 5 minutes, the catheter self-disinfects. It's just so simple. The bugs can't grow, so the infection never even starts.
Just stop and think about the implications of that for a second.
What they've done is embed the photosensitive compounds directly into the plastic of the catheter itself, so you're creating truly smart medical devices that can literally clean themselves with just a little pulse of light. I mean, you could prevent countless infections before they even have a chance to begin.
So when you kind of pull back and look at the whole picture, you go from a simple nasal treatment all the way to self-cleaning catheters. You realize what's happening here. This isn't just about making another new product. They are fundamentally reimagining the entire concept of infection control.
And that, right there, is the most important thing to take away from all of this. It's not about one product for one problem. It is a true platform technology. It's the same core science, just adapted over and over again for new challenges. And that has the potential to create a whole new standard of care in preventing infections.
Which really leaves us with one last big question to think about. We live in a world where our best weapons against infection, antibiotics, they're starting to fail us. So could something as simple, as fundamental as light, actually be our new front line of defense?